What makes humans unique is our ability to look past our present condition and glance far into the future and consider the possibilities. At its best, good science fiction book will do just that for you. It will propose a vision of the future that's oftentimes grounded in our latest understanding of physics, of science, but allows us to consider the future possibilities for human-to-human interaction and also interactions with technology. Science fiction does all that and more. In this video, I want to highlight 10 books that I feel will blow your mind for some of these reasons that I just mentioned. Let's get right into it with book number 1. So this list is going to be in no particular order, but I wanted the first book to really exemplify everything I just mentioned. And House of Suns, written by a PhD in physics holding author Alistair Reynolds, is an excellent example. So a quick synopsis first. 6 million years ago, at the dawn of the starfaring era, Abigail Gentian fractured herself into 1,000 male and female clones, which she called Shatterlings. But now, someone is eliminating the Gentian line. Campion and Purslane, 2 Shatterlings who have fallen in love and shared forbidden experiences, must determine exactly who or what their enemy is before they are wiped out of existence. There are so many things I love about this book. First of all, it's a fabulous story. Beginning to end, the story arc is excellent, satisfying. There are great characters in it. There's an interplay between these Shatterlings, these post-human beings, with an artificial intelligence who they rescue. Hyperion, I think is his name. They develop a relationship. Can they trust one another? Fabulous. I loved that character. There is this entity, again, very much post-human entity, uploaded into the cloud perhaps, but an actual being at the same time called Spirit in the Air that is controlling a certain planet. Fabulous, mind-twisting, mind-bending concepts. There are so many of them. The one perhaps I enjoyed the most was the time dilation aspect. There is a huge chase scene that takes tens of thousands of years as it develops, and it's written in such a way that it really enhances your understanding of what this actually might be like to live in this future where travel is at these huge distances is possible, and what happens to time when you're traveling at high speeds. Fascinating story, so many exciting moments in it. I love it. I recommend you read it today. Prepare yourself for a mind-altering experience. Get ready to question everything. Get ready for Philip K. Dick's Ubik. Just by the virtue of being written by Philip K. Dick, you know this book is going to be completely different than any other book on this list. Will it help the reading experience if you're high while reading it? I'm not sure. Will it hurt? Definitely not. Glenn runs a lucrative business, deploying his teams of anti-psychics to corporate clients who want privacy and security from psychic spies. But when he and his top team are ambushed by a rival, he is gravely injured and placed in half-life, a dreamlike state of suspended animation. Soon, though, the surviving members of the team begin experiencing some strange phenomena, such as Glenn's face appearing on coins and the world seeming to move backward in time. The group needs to find out what's causing the shifts and what a mysterious product called Ubik has to do with it all. So this is a book where Philip K. Dick takes us literally back to the future. It's the future for him, but we need to go back to 1992 to visit his alternate vision, his alternate reality. You will lose your mind a little bit when you read this book. The plot,
the story is unbelievable. The prose is all Dick.
And the whole psychedelic experience can be yours for the price of just one Ubik. Okay, now imagine a planet far away from our solar system, a world covered by a gelatinous ocean. And now, imagine if that ocean, perhaps the planet itself, is an alien and one single, impossible to decipher entity. Welcome to Solaris. When Chris Kelvin arrives at the planet Solaris to study the ocean that covers its surface, he finds a painful, hitherto unconscious memory embodied in the living physical likeness of the long-dead lover. The Solaris ocean may be a massive brain that creates these intricate memories, though its purpose in doing so is unknown, forcing the scientists to shift the focus of their quest and wonder if they can truly understand the universe without first understanding what lies within their hearts. Stanisław Lem's most famous book, Solaris, was published in 1961 in Poland and quickly won worldwide acclaim for a good reason. It's a book that completely subverts first contact trope. It's an unconventional science fiction story that is both incredible and mind-blowing for its setting and for what it proposes, but also is very human at heart. It's a look inward into our own demons, because how can we understand an alien being if we cannot really come in terms with our own humanity first? It's an interesting book, a page turner. I really love it. It's one of my all-time favorite science fiction books for a good reason. I was able to read it in its original Polish version, of course, but the translations are excellent and I recommend you pick them up. It's an incredible book. Solaris will blow your mind. 3 books down, 7 mind-twisting choices to go. I'm gonna ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, like the video, comment, have you read any of these books? Are you planning on reading them? Let's continue. Next book on the list is one that I was reading with my mouth open, shocked into disbelief several times through the reading experience. I'm talking about Dan Simmons's Hyperion. On the world called Hyperion waits a creature called Shrike. There are those who worship it, there are those who fear it, and there are those who have vowed to destroy it. In the Valley of the Time Tombs, where huge, brooding structures move backward through time, the Shrike waits for them all. On the eve of Armageddon, with the entire galaxy at war, 7 pilgrims set forth on a final voyage to Hyperion, seeking the answers to the unsolved riddles of their lives. Each carries a desperate hope and a terrible secret, and one may hold the fate of humanity in his hands. Hyperion certainly qualifies as a mind-blowing reading extravaganza. The book is at times scary, creepy, challenging, interesting, and at all times a compelling read. Structured along the lines of contemporary tales with lots of references to poetry of John Keats, this book mixes its classical foundation with cutting-edge science fiction imagination. The combination thus created is nothing short of genius. I strongly recommend Hyperion. Dan Simmons is trusting the reader to be smart enough and patient enough to let the story come to him, to let the story reveal itself, as opposed to giving too much exposition. It is not necessarily the easiest of science fiction books, but it's so worth reading. You are in Area X. Expect the unexpected. Area X has been cut off from the rest of the world for decades. The first expedition returned with reports of pristine landscape. The second expedition ended in mass suicide. The third in a hail of gunfire as its members turned on one another. In Annihilation, the first volume of Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, you are invited to join the 12th expedition. The reason why Annihilation is on this list is very simple. I remember finishing the book, putting it down, sitting there just thinking, what the hell did I just read? This is a mysterious, spectacularly weird book. Jeff Vandermeer makes unusual, brave choices, like not giving us the names of any of the main characters. For example, we know our narrator as only the biologist. The most rewarding part of the read for me was just being enveloped in the creepy atmosphere of Area X. The book is mysterious, the book is stylish. Think back to the show Lost, to the best parts of it. And of course, it's just book one in a series. I read book two, Authority, completely different read, but I also loved it. It's in a different setting, more of an office urban setting, but the mystery, the weirdness, the creepiness is still there. I cannot wait to read book three, Acceptance, and I'm hoping it's going to be as good as the first two. I recommend Annihilation as a mind-twisting read. The overlords appeared suddenly over every city, intellectually, technologically, and militarily superior to humankind. Benevolent, they made few demands: unify Earth, eliminate poverty, and end war. Humankind agreed, and a golden age began. But at what cost? Those who resist. It becomes evident that the overlords have an agenda of their own. As civilization approaches the crossroads, will the overlords spell the end of humankind or the beginning? Rendezvous with Rama is a lot of fun. 2001: A Space Odyssey is a classic, but Childhood's End is my favorite Arthur C. Clarke novel. If you're looking for a book that offers philosophical thoughts on life, death, alien invasion, immortality, the future of humanity, Childhood's End delivers big time. The book is divided into 3 parts. All are good. The middle one is my favorite. This is one of the most important works of SF from the golden age of science fiction. It's a must-read. It will blow your mind, but it will make you think first. 2 months since the stars fell. 2 months of silence while the world held its breath. Now, some half-derelict space probe, sparking fitfully past Neptune's orbit, hears a whisper from the edge of the solar system, a faint signal sweeping the cosmos like a lighthouse beam. Whatever is out there isn't talking to us. It's talking to some distant star, perhaps. Or perhaps to something closer, something en route. So who do you send to force introductions with an unknown and unknowable alien intellect that doesn't wish to be met? Well, that's a silly question. The answer is obvious. You send a linguist with multiple personalities, her brain surgically partitioned into separate sentient processing cores, a bionic biologist who sees in X-ray and tastes ultrasound, a pacifist warrior, a synthesist with half of his brain gone, and, of course, last but not least, a vampire. The crew awakes on a spaceship, and this is where the story of Peter Watts's mind-bending book Blindsight begins. It is a weird, wholly original creation with a dense, brooding atmosphere. This just may be the most mind-twisting book on this whole list. The book is dark. It's not for everyone. I, in fact, should reread it, as my first read was a struggle. I loved and hated the book at the same time. This 2009 Hugo Award winner is a philosophical tour de force. It shines a new light on what consciousness is and whether it's an essential part of intelligent, starbound beings. So go ahead and read Blindsight at your own peril. And Rice, these are not the vampires you're looking for. Arachnophobia, fear of spiders, happens to be the most common phobia of them all. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men suffer from the disorder. If you happen to be one of those unlucky ones, I recommend you skip reading Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time, my next mind-blowing recommendation. The last remnants of the human race left a dying Earth, desperate to find a new home among the stars. Following in the footsteps of their ancestors, they discovered the greatest treasure of the past age, a world terraformed and prepared for human life. But all is not right in this new Eden. In the long years since the planet was abandoned, the work of its architects has borne disastrous fruit. The planet is not waiting for them, pristine and unoccupied. New masters have turned it from a refuge into mankind's worst nightmare. Now, two civilizations are on a collision course, both testing the boundaries of what they will do to survive. As the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, who are the true heirs of this new Earth? So I don't think it's any spoiler to say that spiders are featured prominently in this book. Anyone who picks it up is going to know about it. It's such a great, fun, fast-paced read. A fabulous story with good world building and a beautifully layered exploration of civilizational and evolutionary progress. The narrative takes place over 1,000 years of spider uplift. It's fascinating. There is a whole second thread of the book, and that's from the point of view of humans and humanity's struggle to find a new home. The book is interesting, it's fascinating, it's slow in the middle for a good chunk, but overall, it's really satisfying. I liked the ending. Even if it was slightly predictable, it was hugely satisfying. And yes, the exploration of spiders was fabulous, really well done. I liked Deepness in the Sky, the way Vernon Vinge presented spiders, but this was next level. I recommend this book to everyone. Yes, even if you're afraid of spiders, or maybe especially if you're afraid of spiders, I recommend you read this book. You may actually change your mind about them. The next recommendation for a mind-blowing science fiction read is going to be obvious. It's going to be a series, best known as The Three-Body Problem, but the name of this series really is Remembrance of the Earth's Past trilogy. So we have The Three-Body Problem, we have Dark Forest, and we have Death's End. Dark Forest, the middle book, is my favorite read. As a series together, this is truly satisfying. I don't think there is any book, single book or series out there that can compete with Remembrance of the Earth's Past for the amount of mind-blowing, mind-twisting twists, surprises, ideas. I think the problem that Cixin Liu has with this series is that there is too much in it, especially book 3 seemed to be overloaded. We were just piling ideas, concept that I could not wrap my head around on top of previous ones. It's not going to appeal to everyone. The character work is quite weak. Everyone is wooden. Everyone is the same essentially, but it's not about character. It's not about introspection. It's a big picture, big idea book series. I recommend it. I really enjoyed it. It's a challenging read, but it's one that must be done by any science fiction lover. All good things have to come to an end, and so we've arrived at the last recommended book for this video. But before I talk about it, and there's a bonus, I want to ask you just to leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, share the video if you think there's someone who would enjoy it. That would help me a lot. Let me know what do you think about these books. What books would you put on a list of books that really changed something in your mind, that created that paradigm shift where you just imagine the future possibilities in a completely different light because of it? Let's talk. Now, let's get right into my last recommendation. And I'm excited about this one because you get 2 for the price of 1. I'm talking about Vernon Vinge's Fire Up on the Deep and Deepness in the Sky. Both books are incredible. Both books definitely fit the moniker for this video. They definitely will blow your minds. Paradigm shifts, novums, everything is there. Fire Up on the Deep is the first book in this Zones of Thought series. It's great. Huge in its scope, fabulously realized, galaxy-spanning adventure that really brings the galaxy to life with, I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but there's a lot happening in this book. And then we have also in that book a very local situation happening. So you have a galaxy-wide emergency, let's call it. Worlds are being threatened. And then you have a situation that happens very locally on a planet of tines, these pack animals that are very unique. They share a mind and they share consciousness between 5 or 6 individual beings. So each one of them has a different name, but yet together they make a single being. Beautifully realized by Vernon Vinge, very well written, confusing at first, not a lot of exposition. You just have to figure out as you read how these tines function. I loved that. Now, Deepness in the Sky, on the other hand, is a book that was written second, but it takes place many, many years prior to the events of Fire Upon the Deep. They can be read whichever one you want to read first, go for it, in my opinion. So Deepness in the Sky, much smaller in scope, interesting philosophically. It talks about things like colonialism, abusing resources, slavery. It's dark, very dark. There is one of the most evil villains in any book that I read is in Deepness in the Sky. Fabulous. And there's one character that ties the two books together. Read them both. Read whichever one you want, but read Vernon Vinge's Zones of Thought. There's a book 3. We're not going to talk about that one. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it, and I hope to talk to you soon.